Last week, Conservatives gathered in Ottawa to mark the 20th anniversary of Stephen Harper's first election win back in 2006 and to see his official portrait unveiled at Parliament Hill in Ottawa. Now, there are some important lessons that we can take from Stephen Harper's prime ministership and that we could apply to politics today. Two of the most important are these. You can dramatically cut taxes to help fuel growth and do so without increasing the debt over the long term. And when you do have a deficit to deal with from an unfortunate international situation, in Harper's case, the Great Recession, you can steadily eliminate that deficit with strong fiscal leadership. Let's look at the tax cuts first. Under Stephen Harper's watch, he cut the sales tax, income taxes, corporate income taxes, and small business taxes, dramatically reducing the tax burden for Canadian families and for Canadian businesses. Think of the GST cut alone. This year, because the GST is 5% and not 7%, Canadians will save roughly $22 billion just from that tax cut. And that's not to mention the personal income tax cuts that were unveiled under Prime Minister Stephen Harper's watch. Now, all of that was done without increasing the debt over the long term. Yes, there were deficits to deal with the Great Recession, but when Prime Minister Stephen Harper left office, he left with a balanced budget of $1.4 billion, and former Finance Minister Joe Oliver was projecting balanced budgets for the years ahead. It was only when Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took office and, acted on that pledge of three small deficits for just 3 years, which spiraled into massive deficits for 10 years, did we enter the fiscal situation that we see today. The other thing is dealing with massive deficits. Stephen Harper, because of the Great Recession, ended up with a deficit of about $56 billion, but he reduced it by 90% within 4 years. It went from $55 billion to just $5 billion in 4 short years, under the leadership of Finance Minister Jim Flaherty and former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Now compare that with the plans of the current Liberal government. Right now, there is a deficit of about $78 billion, but the Liberal government plans to reduce it by just 28% 4 years from now. The deficit will still be a shocking $56 billion, and that's what was projected in November before all of the recent announcements that the government has made, which puts even those projections into doubt. So it is clear you can dramatically reduce a big deficit if you have strong fiscal leadership from the top, which we saw under the Harper government and which we have yet to see under the Liberals. So there are clear lessons to take from Stephen Harper's premiership. Number one, you can dramatically reduce taxes for individuals and families as well as businesses without increasing the debt over the long term, saving all kinds of money for those who need it most. And you can dramatically reduce deficits with strong leadership from the top, making sure that spending is held in check. Those are two lessons that ought to be applied today as Canadians desperately needed another round of Stephen Harper era tax cuts to make affordability a reality for all Canadians and Canadian businesses, and as well because we need leadership to dramatically reduce our massive deficit, which is $78.3 billion and threatens the fiscal future of our nation.